How do you look at the team in terms of a leadership team? Is that a concept that you use in your business?
When I look at a leadership team, you have certain functional areas. So obviously you have personnel, you've got finance, you have sales, you have engineering, you have manufacturing. And what I look at is being sure that you're cross-pollinating these people. In many cases, people are working for companies that don't realize they're in trouble financially. You know why? Because they haven't communicated that. I think it's very important. The good and the bad has to be communicated. If you don't have the field understanding what's going on at home and vice versa, you're not going to have a fluid organization and be able to have the success you want in building your brand. And that's what I'm all about, building a brand. And to me, it's because of relationships. Once you have the internal capability, it's amazing because you build that integrity with your customers. We have 300 franchises worldwide, and I would have to say that I'll visit over half of those at least once during a 12-month period. And I don't just walk into the boardroom. The first thing I do is walk in the shop. I talk to the technicians. Guess what? I even go and ask where the warranty parts are, in a dealership. How do we handle the warranty that's going back to the OEM? Because these are some areas that people don't even look at. I think you've got to be able to deal at the lowest level. Not in a dominating way at all. More as a team player, as someone, as a support tool. In some way you have to translate that through your organization. We really got to think long term. And we're in an environment today, outside environment, that's driving us to short-term decisions to see financial success. And we've seen some of this lately, which has been troubling to me and troubling to the marketplace, not only in the U.S. but around the world.
Right. So you have to find a way to balance that short-term focus and the long-term focus. The way you're communicating that in your organization is pretty simple. Is it good for the company? And if so, fine. And if not, then
we'll do something else. The most important thing they say about our companies, our first goal is take care of the customer. That's the number one highest scored question in our business. The lowest scored is we don't move on people who are marginal performers. It's amazing. That's our own people telling us this.
Now, what do you attribute that culture to? Where do you see that culture being reinforced or being created?
When you start your own business, you don't have a customer and you have very little capital to start with. You revere every single customer and you do everything you can to keep that customer. And then many times the repeat and referral part of your business is how you get market share. One of the things we track in our dealership business is the owner loyalty every single month. And it's interesting, today if you look at owner loyalty, there's a much higher owner loyalty in the premium brands, the Mercedes, the Lexus, the BMWs, the Porsche and the Audis, versus maybe the Honda, the Toyota, and maybe the General Motors and the big three. There seems to be a lot more churn with that customer. We want to take that turnover and slow it way down and move those people into loyal Penske customers. I've always said, and maybe financial people would laugh at me, but I think the accommodation is a lot more important than the interest rate today, tomorrow, and yesterday as far as we're concerned. Because as we build that trust with an organization, we can go back in and say, here's our results. And we had a huge failure back a number of years ago when we bought the Kmart Auto Centers. And we thought with our understanding, with the support of ExxonMobil and Napa and Goodyear and all the people that were involved, this was going to be right down our alley. Well, I can tell you, it was a huge loss for us. It almost was, I think, between $175 and $200 million we lost in that business. And I had to go to the banks and say, look, this year, we're not going to write this off or throw our keys on the table and walk away. We're going to pay all these vendors. We're going to take care of our people. Guess what? The banks never walked away from us and supported us in the future.
You know, it's interesting because you're describing a very empowered organization, but you're not using the terminology. I'm assuming that that really is a quality of your company if people are able to operate in a flatter organization and make decisions and move in an independent but team-based way.
The word empowerment obviously is a proper term, but we have people that really grow into this responsibility. And more important, we trust them and their high integrity, because when they go out, they represent the company. Again, we go right back to the core value here, what's best for the company. We bring the 4 or 5 or 6 key people in, and then they go out and implement the decision or whatever the requirement is in the process. It's not because I told them, it's because together we've decided what's going to be the offense or defense in a particular situation.